Hello there. My name's Alex Palmer, and I'm serving as the Volunteer Maryland Coordinator for the Chesapeake Education Arts and Research Society. And I'm here to deliver a presentation that I gave to different community members at two different workshops we had related to beavers in Buddy Attick Park. And this is one of our pilot programs of the Greenbelt Ecostewards, which is a new initiative of our Greenbelt Forest Stewardship Project. And we had community members come out to Buddy Attick Park to view this presentation to learn about beavers, which are very common in Buddy Attick Park and along Greenbelt Lake, and to learn what they can do to prevent trees from being eaten too much by beavers, as well as develop an appreciation for the role that beavers have in our ecosystem, and to learn that it is possible to coexist with beavers in an urban landscape, despite how many trees they've been eating lately. So we'll go ahead. With every presentation, I like to prompt people and remind people what CHEARS is about. And CHEARS is the Chesapeake Education Arts and Research Society. It was a nonprofit founded in 2006, and it's based in Greenbelt, Maryland. And something that's unique about CHEARS is that it's centered around community-driven environmental action projects, be it volunteers, individuals, or CHEARS often partners with other nonprofits, and of course, for our Greenbelt Forest Stewardship Project, we have been very close partners with the Greenbelt Public Works Department. And cheers.org is the website for the Chesapeake Education Arts and Research Society. So with the community members, I sort of gave some background on beavers and specifically the beavers that were in Buddy Attick Park. And American beavers, the scientific name is Castor canadensis, on average are 50 inches in length, and that's from head to toe. So they're definitely America's largest rodent, and they can weigh up to 40 to 60 pounds. But it's not unheard of to have beavers at 70 pounds. And if you look at the picture in the upper right-hand corner of the slide of the beavers swimming, they don't really look that big when you see them in the water, but occasionally you will be able to get a rare glimpse of beavers when they come out of the water and onto land, and that's where you can develop an appreciation for their enormous size. And of course, they are a semi-aquatic mammal. They spend most of their time in the water, but also quite a bit of time on land, but they can stay underwater for up to 15 minutes. And of course, the issue that the community members came out for this workshop, as you can see by the pictures below, was the increase in beaver activity in regards to the trees that they eat. And beavers eat the inner layer of a tree, which is nice and soft and tender and filled with nutrition, called the cambium layer. And what's been happening in Greenbelt lately is normally beavers, the parents, live with kits and with yearlings. And the yearlings actually help take care of the young and even help with some of the lodge maintenance. But normally after about a year and a half, the parents usually kick out those yearlings, which have become 2-year-olds by then. And those 2-year-olds are normally set to establish their own territory a good distance away from the from their parents. And what we think might be happening, at least as of right now, is there may have been some 2-year-olds that have stayed around, and rather than trying to cross a busy intersection or sneak under a freeway pass, have decided to stay at Buddy Attick Park because it does offer the habitat and the refuge from urban development. And we think what be happening is they're establishing a territory nearby, and that maybe the parents either aren't as pushy about kicking them out, or it's possible they're still interacting with the parents, maybe still helping the kids or still helping to build the lodge. And so what's been happening is lately, within this past year, in the fall of 2013, we've seen probably double, maybe even triple the amount of beaver activity that has normally been observed in Buddy Attick Park. But however, as I'll show you in just a minute, But while beavers have been problematic in Greenbelt's very urban landscape, in many ways they're very beneficial to the ecosystem, and beavers actually play a very important role in it. This is the distribution of beavers. They are a native species. They probably have existed in Maryland probably since the end of the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago. And that red dot on this map shows you roughly where the Washington, D.C. metro area is, where Greenbelt is. And you can see we're well within the beaver's native range. This is a picture in Buddy Attick Park of the Beaver Dam, which is just upstream from the lake. This is kind of before the water enters the lake. And you can see it's a very well-built dam, kind of a curvilinear structure that goes across this body of water. And you can see it's starting to back up some of the water behind it. And actually, this has been really good for Buddy Attick Lake. There's been noticeable improvements in water quality because as water kind of rushes from the top of the hill and from Roosevelt Center, which is kind of the downtown center of Greenbelt, it kind of gets slowed down by this dam. And as the water is allowed to settle, microorganisms can help filter pollutants out. The natural environment actually helps filter some of those pollutants, and then as it gradually enters Buddy Attick Lake, the water is cleaner than what it would have been if there had been no dam or nothing slowing down and filtering the water. And beavers did that. And this is a typical diagram of a beaver lodge. You can see they have underwater entrances. If you look to the bottom left of the image, you can see a drawing of a beaver about to enter the lodge. And that helps protect them from predators. And they even have a mud flooring in the eating chamber that you see. And sometimes even separate rooms for storage. And they'll often create vents to let air flow and circulate. So really, really sophisticated structures. One thing to note about this diagram is it kind of shows a stereotypical beaver lodge, set out in the middle of this pristine lake with mountains in the back. Attick Park, this is normally what a beaver lodge looks like. In fact, the lake, Greenbelt Lake, actually used to be a stream that was dammed up by people back in the 30s. And normally when beavers build lodges along moving water bodies, they typically embed their lodges into the bank. And so that's what you're seeing here is one of the beaver lodges in Buddy Attick Park on the northeast side of the lake, kind of embedded into the bank of this former stream, which is now a reservoir. Beavers, with their activity, much like people, beavers modify the environment to suit their needs, but when they do, it has amazing ramifications. And this is a picture of Beaver Marsh in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park near Cleveland, Ohio. Historically, this area was kind of an upland forest that later became a landfill. And then as environmental conditions improved and there was more environmental awareness, beavers, which historically had been in the region, had come back and started building and constructing dams and resulted in this amazing marsh complex. And beavers, when they flood an area, creates ponds and wetlands that are extremely biodiverse, arguably much more biodiverse than what was there prior to the beavers. And so there's dozens of fish, birds, amphibians that can be found in this particular marsh. Those tree snags that died, that got drowned by all the water, actually create food sources for woodpeckers because you have a lot of insects that are helping to decompose the trees, and that's food for birds and other wildlife nesting places. And you can see in this park they built a popular recreation trail where visitors can admire the marsh and all the wildlife that's abounding in it. So beavers really are quite beneficial to the ecosystem, creating wetlands, helping to literally clean the water, as we saw in the previous slide. Very important. This was sort of the areas we addressed the beaver issues in Buddy Attick Park. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see the Public Works building where folks met for the slideshow, and then we headed right out into the park. What we did is we had volunteers go out and put metal caging around the bases of trees, and we had metal wiring that we pre-cut and had volunteers wrap those around the trees about 3 to 4 inches around the tree. And beavers can't really chew through metal, and so this actually blocks beavers out from accessing the tree, and they end up moving elsewhere. And later on, the Public Works Department will go back out and insert stakes into the caging to hold them in place, but overall we caged over 2 workdays on February 1st and February 8th of 2014, probably close to 200 trees in Buddy Attick Park. And that's pretty much how our workday went, and I think everyone learned a lot about beavers and learned some simple techniques for protecting the trees they love in Greenbelt's remnant woods. Thank you.